Okay, so again, viruses are not to be feared. Viruses are not to be fought against. Viruses are not to be anything that you're taking something for to stop the upgrade. Do you realize when you upgrade your phone, you don't try to like stop the upgrade in the middle of it? When your phone says, do not turn off your phone because it's in the middle of an upgrade process, you don't want to turn off your phone. You don't want to turn off your computer. You don't want to turn off anything when it's in the middle of an upgrade, when it's migrating from one system to another because of all the different updates and alignments between your application environment and the World Wide Web, and then all the different interlocking pieces in between each of the applications that play off each other. And so even I have to remember what it's like to just give time to an upgrade. Okay? And these upgrades are going to happen. I mean, you've seen them through every season, every fall. There's always an upgrade. Like every year we get an upgrade. Like every springtime, my computer upgrades. Windows update, because I have Windows. Okay, and so I have to make sure that my system is upgraded every year because it needs to be able to work in now new environments with everyone else upgrading around me. With all the stuff, on the internet, with all the applications that I'm using, everything must align with each other. And so there are acids in our body that allow us to update and allow us to evolve with the environment, which is the uracil, which is in your RNA. And so that is the tiny instability that allows you to take on new information and then allows your body to then feel the pain, the mucus, the symptoms. And so why Jilly Juice exists and why the protocol exists is because we're now trying to be different and update our bodies to the level of the environment without trying to stop the evolution. But like anything, you can take anything to extreme. And so remember, it's about balance. Too little J juice, you're going to have stagnation and old world programming from 1985, that you're going to die with 1985 programming in you because you can't update to the level of the environment. Too much J juice, okay, when you're using it as a cure, is going to then keep you in that curative state and on the decline because now there's too much energy, not allowing the evolution to take place. So you see, there's a balance of J juice. It's bringing it on so that way you can release the stagnation, release the old programming, bring in the new programming, eat the food, gain the weight if you're underweight, lose the weight, because if someone is very obese, they're taking on and holding on to old programming that has not been released because of stagnation. Yet again, ionic channels have been closed, sodium channels have been closed. All the prescription drugs that are programming your body to be in a specific way to help you be a robot in this environment. You can call it adaptation, but really the prescription drugs and the holistic remedies and all the chakra stuff and the crystal stuff is all trying to keep you in a curative state and then also on the decline. Okay? And so this is where it's so important. And I get it now and I understand it because let me tell you, this virus is like an awakening. This virus is like letting me know how it actually works. And the fact that I face every single viral evolution that I've been dealing with for the last, since 2020 and even before that, I see now what it takes to evolve in not only just the body, but in the mind and the spirit. And some of you are stuck in your physical symptoms. You have a hard time dealing with the physical evolution. So it will be even harder to deal with the mental evolution and the spiritual evolution. Okay? And so viruses are just programming. They program your telomeres to send off messages through your immune system, the innate and the adaptive immune system. Those messages get sent off through frequencies. You have the IP receptors, your ligand, ligand bonding, protein bonding, all that stuff. It sends messages to then keep to the 3D printed design of your body, the blueprint. And then you have to deal with coughing stuff out. I'll tell you what, I went through a total process with the mucus. It was like so deep and so crazy like a couple weeks ago, right? Maybe a week or so ago. And then it became shallower. I wasn't coughing as much. It was less coughing. Then it became watery. Okay, then it became watery. So then it was just like, oh my God, every 5 seconds, I'm just, every time I eat something, I'm coughing out mucus. Okay, and then last night or this morning, I noticed then another release of that grip off of me. And so then it got out of my throat and got into my nose, which is fine. And then I have the force to blow my nose. And so I noticed channels closing as it doesn't need to be open anymore. My mucus channels were closing as it saw that I was releasing and the body was adapting. So I'm watching my body go through its evolution just by how my mucus behaves. I poop every day. I eat a bunch of food. Okay. I don't use the J juice to try to get the poop out. If anything, I use some coffee if I feel backed up, if I even feel that. I think a couple days ago I did drink a bunch of coffee because I noticed that I didn't poop until the evening. Usually I poop in the morning, but I pooped in the evening because I drank a bunch of coffee. And yes, fatigue is going to happen, but you need to sleep. And you need to feel what it's like to deal with uploading a virus without trying to fight it, without trying to evolutionize energize it away. Okay? And so, yes, so J juice brings on the evolution because it gets rid of old programming and allows you to get to new programming, which is why then you're seeing all your different symptoms because your body now is able to take the food supply because you're still eating food. See, the viruses only program your body, but it's the food supply that's what regenerates. And that's why you feel all the different symptoms because your body is regenerating. And then when it's releasing the excess programming. That's all the mucus is, releasing excess programming. When you poop, releases excess programming. When you're sweating, releases excess programming. So that way you can take on to the new environment. But you keep washing away with so much energy. There's no way your body can think and how to evolve to the current level of the environment. Okay? If you feel bloated, then drink some freaking coffee. With cream and with sugar and with whatever flavoring, with the elements. Like those nitro cold brews, they've been my lifesaver because they're elements, they're minerals, they're hormones, they're the fatty acid, amino acid, pro-hormones and minerals are in those coffees. So if I really feel but I haven't felt backed up. But if you're not going to do an enema and you're not doing then just drink, just slam down a thing of nitro cold brew. Starbucks has been my savior through all of this because it's just chemistry. All this stuff is chemistry, you guys. This is all chemistry and biochemistry. How do you manipulate your body based upon your intention? You feel pain, okay? If you need some energy because you got to get stuff done, then do the coffee. You get the poop out. You don't try to be so anal about your stuff that you're not allowing the poop to stay in there because I'll tell you, your poop is your programming. I notice that when I do when I do poop out a bunch of stuff, I feel hungry. Why is that? Because the body needs something to feed on. It needs that energy source. And so that's why you guys are hungry after you're doing the waterfalls because you release now all the nutrients that your body should be using. Okay. And so then you have to go feed yourself again to get that energy source again. And that's what sits in your gut. And that's the current programming. And then when you poop the next day, it's releasing the excess programming, which is why it leaves a little poop behind but then that's why I say, if you really want to evolve to your level of society, then, once a month, once every couple of months, do some waterfalls if you feel you need to. But I'll tell you what, I haven't really done the waterfalls I've only done the 2 shots and that's it. I haven't done any waterfalls. Because I know that my body can handle all of this. And I'm not trying to energize my evolution or pain away. And then you're going to evolve in body, mind, and spirit. But you have to deal with the pain. I'll tell you what, I dealt with, pain at the muscle spasms. I dealt with the coughing in the middle of the night. I dealt with, I dealt with a lot during this last, viral upload. I dealt with it. I didn't try to wash it away. And that's the crux of it all. That's the crux of evolution, is dealing with the pain without somebody inflicting pain on you, but you're evolving to the level of your environment. This is not about torturing people and saying, oh, can you handle the pain? No, it's not about torturing anybody. This is about knowing that you can handle your environment despite the changes that are going on. So as long as the environment is stable enough to keep life alive. So if the squirrels are running around like no tomorrow, and my squirrels are running around, then you should be able to live. If the birds are flying and the squirrels are going and you have bugs and your dog is still rocking around, then you should be able to live in the environment that you're in. And any kind of increase in energy, whether it's increase in viruses, piezoelectricity, increase in 5G, it's going to be incremental. Yeah, you're going to feel it. Those that are at a deficit, that get exposed to large amounts of energy, they're going to probably trigger cancer, because that's major excessive evolutionary growth. And so then you have to bring the rest of your body, you have to open up the ionic channels. And that's the whole thing about that's the whole thing about leaky gut, is the channel blocking. That's the crux of it all. We don't have to dispute leaky gut, whether it exists or not, because the holistic says it exists and the allopathic says it doesn't exist. Who are you going to believe? Well, we all know people channel block using crystals. They channel block using negative energy crystals. They channel block using the chakra stuff, the acupuncture. They channel block using so many different, therapeutics. And so people are in this curative state of decline, where parts of their body are being blocked off and siphoned off, or all the energy is being released like a balloon until there's nothing left, and they're deflated. And you look at people, they're aging and degrading, losing collagen. There's nothing to them. They're like a balloon being deflated systematically through the holistic allopathic world. And so that's what you have to understand, is that Jiggly Juice is about a very, very careful balance of, yes, in the beginning, when you're first doing Jiggly Juice, you do whatever you got to do to get the waterfalls, get things moving, get those channels open so you can feel the hormones and get the hormones doing what it needs to do. Eat the food supply. Don't be discriminatory. Don't bitch about your symptoms, though I know you're going to, because you're not used to feeling symptoms. And then you eat food, you get the poop out, but don't be so anal about it. But if you, and so that's the thing, is that especially in the beginning, for those that are obese, they're probably want to do a lot of waterfalls in the beginning. Of course, I understand that. When you're so obese, you got to work through all of that excess weight to get through the strata of all the old programming. Because yes, you have layers of fat that if you actually put a date on those layers of fat, you can probably see when that fat stayed on the body. Because what happened was that you become insulin resistant. So now you have all this fat that's not being turned into energy. And I'm sure if you actually carbon dated that fat, you could see that, well, this fat stayed on the body in 1985, and this fat stayed on the body in 1995 and 2005. And so you could see then a carbon-based slicing of the strata of when the fat stayed on the body and never left. And so yes, the JJs will help release the excess programming. And then eventually you're going to have to take on the current programming, the current food supply. You don't want to wash away to be so skinny, because I'll tell you what, people are losing. I remember I lost a bunch of weight. A couple of years ago, you see me, I lost a bunch of weight on the J Juice. And so other people on the J Juice are losing a bunch of weight because they're doing so much of it, which I get. But now it's the other way around. Now that you lost all this weight and now you're actually underweight, okay, now that you're underweight, or maybe you're proportional, you're kind of even, you're average. Now it's about laying off the freaking J Juice, eat the food and feel the pain, and not try to, every single time you feel pain, take J Juice to wash it away. Now you got to deal with the pain. Like we said in the beginning, when you first do J Juice, you're going to feel pain. And so that's how you're able to evolve. That's why, I see some of you that are still aged, still degrading. Yeah, because you're in a curative state of decline. Remember, salt is a cure. I mean, people use salt as to cure meat. But it's not just salt. You have the water. Then you have all the chemistry in your body. It's moving things around. Ion channels opening. That's why prescription drugs are not going to be necessary in the J Juice anymore, because you're opening up channels that they've closed because you didn't want to feel pain. You realize that there's calcium channel blockers, there's sodium channel blockers. that are being used because people don't want to feel the evolution in their brain or feel the evolution in all different parts of their body. And guess what? They're aging and degrading. Oh, but they're able to function and go to work. Well, yeah, okay, that's the main point, is you don't want to be out of the game. You haven't given your time to your body, you haven't given time to your spirit or your mind. It's all about regurgitation and stay in the game as long as you can and keep tradition alive. Well, I'm sorry, but I don't think death should be a tradition if that's the end result of a life. Okay? And so if I can deal with this virus, and I got it full on, but I had the body to handle it. And I'll tell you what, I was slamming 2 or 3 of those nitro cold brews with sweet creams, like right before I started feeling all the stuff. And those calories in those bottles of nitro cold brew with vanilla sweet cream, it probably saved my ass in a lot of ways. And it probably brought on all the symptoms very quickly because the adrenaline. Adrenaline can also help heal you too, because it brings about activity. Obviously, you guys see yourself poop on coffee, right? You add in all the other stuff. Hell yeah. You might feel bloated. Okay, deal with it. It's okay to feel uncomfortable for a certain amount of time. Your body is trying to figure out where to disperse all of the energy. So that way your heart can be insulated. So that way your brain can be insulated. So that way your liver can be insulated. Too much insulation is then stagnation. Not enough insulation is then you're subject to everything. And you'll be cannibalized out of existence. And you've seen it in hospice patients. If hospice patients would eat the food, if they ate food and dealt with the pain instead of taking morphine to stop the pain, that's why they die. Because they're on painkillers, they're not eating enough food, and yes, the environment is very electric. All the prayers people get from all their friends and family is basically cannibalizing them because no one's giving them anything that sticks to them. And the person doesn't want to feel pain anyways. So if you don't want to get to that point of hospice, then you have to deal with the pain now. Because I'm telling you, when you're in hospice, you're not going to want to deal with pain. You're going to want to go out peacefully. And that's what they do at the micro level with the holistic allopathic energy healing crowd, is they try to morphinize you in a micro level way by blocking channels. They can't block all the sodium, channels, because you would die. That would be detrimental. That would be deadly. But they block a certain amount of sodium channels so you don't feel pain in certain areas. And they get you on prescription drugs, then elicit hormones in one area and then shut off hormones in another area. And so, yeah, your body's at war with itself. And then when something like JJ's comes around and opens up the channels that you were trying to close with all of your channel blockers, you're like, what the hell? Well, yeah, hello, that's the whole point. But you can also use J-Juice to energize away your evolution as well. And so this is why I'm harping on all of you guys now. Evolution is continuous growth. Evolution means that information is going to give you, added extra information is going to give you the opportunity to make your choices. It's about balance. Okay? Jilly juice is not a cure-all. It's not a panacea. Jilly juice is an energy force. And it forces you to deal with evolution. But it also could be used and abused, just like any drug out there. But it's not, see, here's the thing, it's just not a drug. It's just energy. But how you use the energy is the difference. And so, I'm telling you, I had to go through the COVID to understand this. I had to go through all of this shit to understand this. And so that's how people know stuff. That's how people know stuff can be very creative, right? You're like, oh, this person is like, people think I'm so imaginative. I'm so creative. No, it's all experience. It's all experience plus the knowledge in the world. If you don't experience it, then it's just going to be something that you're going to be totally removed from. You're not going to have any relationship with my information because you haven't experienced it. That's why people don't believe me about J-Juice, because they haven't experienced it. Those that are washing away their evolution haven't experienced an aha about anything because they're washing away their evolution. So yes, they're still looping in the same arguments out there. That's how I know you guys are not evolving, because you're still in the same arguments and still complaints, still demonizing a person, place, or thing. And so I know you're using J juice as a cure. Will you survive this next, the next 50 years? Most likely not, if you can't evolve your body, mind, or spirit. I'm serious. If you can't change your conversation and change the way you look at J juice and change the way you look at the world, yeah, you're not going to last very long. So I'm giving you guys the opportunity to figure out how to use J juice to be so strategic in all of this. And you have to deal with pain. Dealing with pain is the crux of all of this. If you're using J juice to wash away the pain, then you don't get it. You bring on the pain with J juice and you deal with the evolution and the viruses in your environment. You wash away the excess programming. That's what all the waterfalls were in the beginning, excess programming. Now you got to deal with the current programming, which is in the viruses. It's in the therapeutics, yes, and it's also in the food supply, the bioengineered food supply. And if you're using organic food and you're only eating 2 ingredients, then yeah, you're going to be like a caveman trying to live off grid, to be a hunter-gatherer, and then eventually be swallowed up by your environment, because you won't have what it takes to deal with the evolution, the innovation, and the electricity. You will lack substance, in literally and figuratively. You'll be overinflated like crypto, and you'll go out like a bang. So, you figure it out, but I'm telling you, now is not the time for you to be all, I don't know, trying to look cute. Now you got to pack on the pounds and deal with the viruses in the environment and start cutting down your expenses. If you have so many expenses that you have to work 50 zillion hours a day. Like, I'm serious. It's time to put now the energy back on you and start dealing with your environment. Get off the, if you've been on J juice the last 4 years, get off the J juice. Time to put the J juice away. If you've been doing J juice faithfully for the last couple years, time to put away J juice and deal with the pain and eat the food and drink the coffee to get the poop out. That's the strategy now. We went from one end where we brought in a lot of J juice to release the programming. Now the other end, for those that have been on the J juice for a while, and even those that have been on and off it, you've already got rid of the old programming. You already opened up the ionic channels. Now it's time to leave those channels open and closing through your involuntary mechanisms. All right, Caroline. And now it's time to deal with the pain and the programming and take the rest. And then if you need to be on your game because you have to work, drink coffee with cream. And sometimes that doesn't help, and so you have to still take a rest. Okay? You get it? You get it? All right, I know you do. All right, bye.